another tutorial with DearPiggy's Python course. As I said in the previous tutorial, we are going to be taking user input and working on a calculator in this video. So this is going to be kind of cool. Instead of just printing numbers and sentences to the console, we are actually going to make a calculator. So we're going to work with addition in this tutorial. So without further ado, let's get started. Go to repl.it, the in-browser IDE, click the blue Start Coding button in the right-hand corner or in the center. Click on the language Python and create your REPL. So how basic calculators work. It asks you, well, our basic calculator, because we want it to be simple. It's going to ask us for two numbers, and then it's going to add it together. So if we kind of want to plan this out a little bit, we're going to have number 1, number 2, as well as the result, right? So just a quick refresher from the previous tutorial, how we take user input is we use the input function. So input with the parentheses, and then we're going to give a prompt. So please, let's capitalize that. Please give your first number. And then remember, we always put this in quotation marks. And let's put this part in quotation marks. And then this is our input. And in order to save that value, we need to assign it. What do we assign it to, guys? Variable. Yes, I'm just going to pretend that I heard you guys say that, okay? So we're going to say number 1 is equal to the input that we get from the first number the user gives us. Now we need another number, don't we, right? Calculators can't run on just one number. So again, we're going to ask for the input, and this time we're going to say, please give another number. So this is just a prompt. You can put whatever you want in here, but you have to kind of let your user know what you're asking for. So we're going to assign this to number 2. So now we have two numbers. So if we run our program using the green button in the middle, it says, please give your first number. Let me give 34. Please give another number, 2. And nothing happens. So we built up all the excitement, and then nothing happens. So this is where we're going to make the magic work. So we need to create another variable that is kind of like the result, where you add the two numbers together. So we're going to say result is our variable is equal to, and how would we think that you should add these two numbers together? So first thing that comes to your mind, simplicity-wise, how do you think we should add these two variables together? And I can't hear you guys right now, but I'm guessing that you would probably say number 1 plus number 2. And in a second, we will see what this gives us, but I kind of want to show you the whole process, and we'll play with it a little bit, right? Python is so fun to play with, and user input is so great to work with. So let's run our code. Oh, and one last thing. We need to see what the result is, right? We can't just have the computer save the result and not show it to us. So we'll print result. We'll print the value of the result variable. So let's run our code and take a look at what happens and be really careful. So run. First number, 34. Second number, 44. Let's just say 4. So what should this give us? What are we hoping that this is going to give us? We're hoping that this is going to give us 38. Check my math, guys. I'm pretty sure I did that right. So if we click enter now, it's going to give us the result. And we're expecting 38. But it gives us 344. And so take a while and think about why they gave us 344. And I'll tell you why. For our result, we told it to add number 1 plus number 2. But did we ever tell the browser that number 1 and number 2 were actually integers? Like, are they actually numbers? So in this case, what happened here is when we asked for the input and then the user gives the input, the browser takes it as a string of words. So it's not processing the fact that the numbers that we give it are integers that we want to add. It takes it as some words. So then when you add them together, they just push it together and it gives us 344. Now, how would we change that? Mainly, we're trying to specify that our first number and our second number that we give are integers. And I can hear some of you guys' brains working right now. And let's take our second step. And I know most of you guys might be thinking, just say in the result that number 1 and number 2 are integers, right? And we can try that. We can definitely try that. And then we can put integer. And this, if for those of you guys who have never seen it before, is basically saying that, hey, the result when you add it, number 1 and number 2, these are integers. This int with the parentheses around it is just telling it that number 1 and number 2 are integers. INT stand for integers. So now let's run our code. Please give your first number, 2. Please give your second number, 5. And guys, the answer is 7. I hope all of you guys got that. So click enter, and it gives us 7. So as of now, our calculator is working great, right? So good job, guys. Our calculator is working. But let's say that I have worked for 1.5 hours on homework and another 1.5 hours on coding. What happens if we want to add that? I'm asking for the total number of hours I've worked. So let's run our program again and let's try it. 1.5, 1.5. And shouldn't this give us 3? This is what we're expecting. We're expecting 3. But instead, Python gives us a variable. And if we take a look at the variable, it says file main.python, which is the file that we're coding on, line 3, which is the result line over here. Value error, invalid literal for int with base 10, 1.5. And let's break it down. Let's kind of explain what this means. What our code was expecting was expecting number 1 and number 2 to come as integers. Now I'll refresh kind of what integers are. Basically in this case we're working with whole numbers, so no decimals. And when I gave it something that was a decimal, it got confused. The computer said, uh-oh, what am I supposed to do? 1.5 and 1.5, they're not integers. So instead what we need to do to fix this problem is we need to tell it, please accept decimals. And the keyword for that this time is not decimals, so not DEC. Good guess though. I could see some of you guys thinking that in your heads, but it's actually float. So this is kind of random, but just keep that in mind. Float means that basically numbers that can be decimals as well. So now let's run our code and say, Sunny works for half an hour on her homework because it's a Friday, and she watches Netflix for 3.5 hours. What a bad kid. Do not watch Netflix for nearly 4 hours, guys. And we are expecting that a total of 4, right? And we see that 4.0 has been given to us. And this works, right? We see that it works for our decimals. And if we run it again, it doesn't matter if we also give whole numbers as well, integers. 3, 2, it should give us 5, and it gives us 5.0, which is the same as 5. So as we can see, taking the safe approach, we should probably always use float. Now, if I give it a more, I could call it more precise decimal, 6.7, 2.1. This is supposed to give us 8.8. And it does give us 8.8, but in some cases, let me try another example, 2.3, 4.7, and this, not 4.7, let's do 4.6. This should give us 6.9. And now, this is the example I was looking for. It gives us 6.8999999, and then a 5 at the end, and we're saying, hold up, computer, what happened? The answer is 6.9, sorry. Why are you giving me this weird decimal? And this is the reason why. When we're making our calculator, when we enter in the numbers, the computer takes these numbers in as binary numbers. And just to give you a quick idea of what that means, currently all the numbers that we count in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, these are all base 10 numbers. But binary works with base 2. And what base 2 means is all numbers are converted to essentially numbers that only use the digits 0 and 1. So for example, any number that we put in is probably like 001, 00110, something like that. And then when the computer takes these in as binary numbers and they try to add it, it gets slightly confused. So you can see that the decimal places are slightly messed up. And if you round it, you get the right answer. But in our next tutorial, this is going to be more advanced, but we will work on making this very, very precise. So we need to work on decimal place precision. Precision is the word. We will be working on that in our future tutorials. But as of now, we have a pretty good addition calculator that we made using user input. So guys, that was the end of our calculator project video. I'll see you in the next one, and clue, we're going to be doing something pretty fun. So stay tuned. Bye, guys.